So we now have our last speaker before the break, lunch break, air break. We have Floris Smith from UPscaleXR. He's going to present today an introduction to the distribution pipeline that lets creative XR reach audiences at scale. Floris, go ahead. The mic is there. Here we go.
Hi everybody, I'm Floris from UPscaleXR, and I wanted to introduce myself. We are a creative production company based in Rotterdam, and we are currently hosting the Church of VR, or at least 15 of the pieces that you can see upstairs. Currently it's also called the Oven of XR, but we are happy to host you upstairs or give you a tour around the pieces. Well, we are a creative production company that is Creative XR Productions, producing XR productions, and we were very frustrated by the fact that the impact of these works was always fairly small. So I'm happy to see the works that we've seen before reaching 85,000 people. Of course, it's amazing. But for a lot of creative productions, that's not the case yet. Sometimes it's distributed in festivals, there's one or two headsets and there's a booth, you can see the VR pieces, but then after that there's nothing. So we wanted to change that, and we wanted to take away these technical bottlenecks so creative production companies, but also individual creators can scale their pieces more easily instead of needing to invest in buying their own headsets, creating plugins so that it's easier to run their pieces. And therefore, we, together with the International Film Festival of Rotterdam and DashXR, our development partner from the Technical University in Delft, we started to create these plugins that basically everybody needed to scale their pieces. And by the means of, oh, there we go. Can I go back? Yes. This is a small outtake of what we've done last half a year, probably. Most of the pictures are from a VR opera called Conversations, which is a free roam, mixed reality opera performance with a live performer. Some of the footage you see is of testing, but also we performed it and showcased it at O Festival in Rotterdam, where we did 3 days of 3 time slots with 80 people. Also there are some pictures from Into the Great Wide Open, where we tried to scale an experience called Revival Roadshow, which was very successful. Also Ascension. Well, if you want to learn more about our productions or the things that we distribute, let us know. I'm happy to talk about it. But first of all, I wanted to define scalability. Since our name is UPscaleXR, I wanted to give a little bit of our definition of scaling VR pieces. And first of all, what I told you before is that I really wanted to create more impact. And by doing so, creating impact for us means, is it tourable? Can you showcase your piece all over the place and have as much of different people, but also as much people as possible see your piece in a short amount of time? Also, financially, of course, it needs to be viable scalability. And in that sense, we are trying to seek for all the experiences that we host, what is the sweet spot? Of course, we can scale to a lot of headsets, but if you don't fill these, then you're paying rental prices for headsets that you don't use. It's a shame. So we want to try to find a sweet spot. So for some experiences, for example, the opera, it was 80 people. We reached the maximum of people a lot of times, but also sometimes it was just not sold out, which for us means that we're in the sweet spot, which is perfect. But also, it's not always about scaling towards hundreds of headsets. Also, it can be scalable in where you, for example, have one headset, but use it most optimum. For example, in a museum, they can also reach with 2 or 3 headsets, 1,500 people in the weekend, because it's just an ongoing show with no hosts, easy to use VR experiences. So this for us is what we're researching at this time and trying to do with our own productions, finding the sweet spots, scaling where possible, but also trying to see what needs an experience. So if you're a creator and you're creating a piece, think about what does your experience need. Do you want a lot of headsets? Is your storytelling based on that? Or do you want to scale in a different way? I wanted to show you this use case, so I hope the video starts running. This is the VR Opera that we've hosted and premiered a few weeks ago, the one with 80 headsets.
Captive dans tes yeux, qui mon âme ravit, d'un sourire gracieux, viens-t'en me secourir, ou me faudra mourir, viens-t'en
The piece is called Conversations. And through the mixed reality, people can see each other, and the live performer is encouraging people to move around, also to mimic her movements. So people are starting to do, at first, a medieval pavane without the performer talking to them. It's a playful way of mimicking the visitors' movements. And by this means of the use case, I wanted to tell you a little bit of what we did from the start onwards in creating this production to make it happen. And first of all, we talked to the creators and said, okay, what is the storytelling, the way of storytelling that you want to use? And they already had in mind, the piece is called Conversations, and we wanted it to be a conversation between 80 people. So people need to be able to see each other, whether it's mixed reality or multiplayer. We need the people to see each other's movements, emotions, and the way they interact with each other. So basically we set the goal that it needs to be for 80 visitors because it fits in most of the theaters that they wanted to tour. Already we had a lot of letters of intent, of course, of places, so we know the limits of the space. So we set our scalability on 80 people to be freely moving. And then we started thinking, okay, well, how do we tell a story that's scalable in a sense, but also technically viable? So we've created an on-site infrastructure that made it easy to have a load-in time of 3 hours and a load-out time of 1.5 hours to be kind of the same as a normal theater play would be. And then we had 3 time slots a day, so we had a short amount of time to clean and make sure that all the headsets are full of power and charged. And we needed to do that within 45 minutes for all 80 headsets. We didn't want to lose a lot of time in putting people in the headset and also offboarding them. So we wanted to make this more of a theatrical way of having the on and offboarding based on the theme of the story. It was embedded in the theater play. And before we were able to do that, we started to build our own plugins. So we have our own software that allows us to do these kind of presentations. And in that sense, we're trying to create an infrastructure that's reusable for all the creators we work with, in the sense that, for example, we needed a calibration tool because people are walking around, we don't want them to bump into each other, so they needed to see all the virtual objects in the correct spot. So we created a plugin, for example, for calibration. Also, we needed to have chapters to be able to set the timing for the live performer to be correct with the live performance. And all of such custom commandos, play, pause, reset. If something goes wrong, we need to be able to push the people back on the correct spot, otherwise they are not aligned with all the other visitors. So all these plugins we made possible for other creators to use as well, and therefore I use this use case to showcase. I think I can keep this slide a little bit short because by telling you what we are doing, I went over all our services we do as a creative production studio. But we are creating productions ourselves, but at the same time, since we are creating these possibilities for other creators, we're also a host for example, Immersive Tech Week, IFFR, allowing other creators to showcase their work too. So if you have a performance or an experience that you want to showcase to a larger audience, please let us know. We probably can help you with that. And then also we do some infrastructure consultancy. So if you're thinking about creating a scalable XR performance, let us also know, because probably we can also set you up with some plugins or tell you the do's and don'ts for creating a scalable performance, because we've run into plenty of trouble that we love to talk about before you start. Then what's next? Currently we're opening an open call with the International Film Festival of Rotterdam, where creators can submit their film either for the selection of the film festival or in development, and you can opt in to be wanting to create at scale. And then we have a separate course that will allow you to scale with us. We can provide you with the plugins that we use and work towards a scalable performance during the International Film Festival of Rotterdam outside the normal selection of the pieces. Then something I'm really proud of that we're working on currently at the moment, I couldn't leave it out of the presentation, but we're working towards a new production. It's called Postmortem. It's a mixed reality performance with music by Drulu, a Dutch-based musician, and animated by Funny Lab, an Italian creator. That together they made The Art of Change, and right now we're doing a new piece for 200 headsets in collaboration with Amsterdam Dance Event and Imagine Film Festival, taking place in October. Well, of course, if there's an open call, there is also the pillar and the track. So there are pillars that mean the storytelling track, the infrastructure track, and the scalable track that we are going to host during IFFR. And then, of course, after the festival, we would love to help these creators also to tour their pieces internationally, since if we scale them, of course, we want to tour the pieces too. So, if you are looking to hear more about UPscaleXR, we are upstairs showcasing all the pieces. We are mainly around with everybody of our company. Elena in the front is also there. Please let us know if you have any questions or you want to collaborate with us on some project. I would love to hear more. Thank you so much.
Floris, thank you very much. And I would like to invite all the speakers that were here for these second sessions. Let's see if they are still around. We might have lost some in translation, because we do have a bit, I think like 5-10 minutes to maybe ask any questions. And I think that would be a great opportunity to quickly cover it and maybe give the chance to elaborate on what they have been working on.
Should we scooch in a little bit closer to each other?
Yeah, let's do it. So, are there questions that comes to mind? Anything regarding the CBIL or the let's say this scalability? I do want to start maybe with one, right? So, what are the kind of like when you're looking for a let's say a partner, something to deploy? Are there some requirements, like bare requirements, when it comes to what this creative studio needs to do in order to deploy the experience on your platform? And are there some ideal cases that usually works better than others?
Well, of course there's ideal cases, but mostly we're looking for projects that are, well, there's two phases. We have a lot of projects that are finished and they're like, okay, we need to insert the plugins to be able to distribute it more easily across more people. But for us, it's the easiest, of course, if you're thinking about creating a production, and we can be there from the start, telling you the do's and don'ts, or think creatively on how to work around some technical bottlenecks that's hosting on Meta headsets or Pico headsets has to offer you. So ideally, in the ideation phase of your project would be best. The plugins that we create are platform agnostic, so you can use them either on HTC. Basically all Android devices can use the plugin, so there's no bottlenecks in that. It's just that, of course, the limitations that there is in VR, we have to find a creative solution. And if you're too far in creating a piece and there's some technical solution that you use, then it's very difficult to work around that sometimes.
Okay. Any other question?
For Visible, when you mentioned that you can produce a tree with AI, so you use an LLM to generate a conversation tree to use later. that you can then vet. What's the input of that process? Do you already specify the sort of general shape of the tree, or is it purely you give it a document and it produces the entire thing?
That's a really good question. Yeah, we give it a document, but the process of creating the tree is not fully automated, and depends on each project. To give some examples, it will split a passage into chunks of 2 or 3 sentences. So this is fine. Then it will create variations of each chunk. And by creating variations, it can gear the section to answer that question. So it will bring the most relevant bit to the front, and that helps to answer that set of questions. And so with this particular method, it's very, very close to the original data. It will just rearrange things to make it more, what comes out most relevant to what the user said. As well as this, it has variations. So it has an I don't know version, so it will add I don't know and then share the most relevant bit that it found. And so in this way it feels like an actual conversation, but it's very true to the original text. That said, this isn't the only way. We're experimenting with different ways, and at the moment it very much depends on what the client is interested in, how they want the system to behave. So we're still exploring the best methods for generating the conversation space at the moment.
Right. So you're saying that it's mostly the tree is mostly human input for now, like the shape of the tree, and then AI fills in the actual text.
The initial input, yes, but the rearranging and segmenting is all done by AI. But then you can check through all of the content afterwards, and this is how we produce the demos that we have.
Thank you.
No thanks.
Any other questions? Okay, I think that the heat took a toll on everybody here. But I wanted to thank everybody. I was glad to have you here this morning. And for today, I'm done on stage, but I'll see you around. If you have any questions for here or for the speaker, just don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you very much. Take a breath, share, and see you later.